Bright suns, travelers.
Hello there.
Good to see everybody in the chat. We appreciate you guys being here. This is our finale. This is the final episode of Obi-Wan Kenobi, and I've got to say I'm a little bit sad, William.
Yeah, it's we knew from the start.
I've got to say I'm a little bit sad.
With only 6 episodes, in this series, it's funny because someone had posted a meme of the episode counts of, Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett, and Obi-Wan Kenobi, and it showed 10 from, seasons 1 and 2 of The Mandalorian, 8 for Book of Boba Fett, and then 6 for Obi-Wan Kenobi. And somebody posted a meme that says, not down, R2, we should be going up from where they're in the elevator. And so anyway, it fits perfectly.
It does. It absolutely does. Welcome in, Teresa. We're excited that you're here. I'm glad that you loved episode 6. Kevin, Theme Park Adventure, we appreciate you being here. And also Dean the Turkey Legster. Thanks so much for popping in, y'all. We're gonna hop right into this. I do want to say I hope everybody has a great 4th of July celebration planned. 4th of July is on Monday, and so we're really we're looking forward to that. William's looking forward to having a little time off, and most of us. I hope you have the day off to enjoy it. And if all you do is just kick back and rest, that is also acceptable celebration.
Yeah, absolutely.
For that. So it's good to see everybody. Okay, episode 6. We are this is the last one. This is the last
finale.
The season finale.
And we've mentioned before that Kathleen Kennedy has said, if the viewership numbers are high enough and there's high enough engagement for this show, then they would definitely consider a season 2. And Ewan McGregor has already said that he's game for a season 2 as well. He said, I think I have more stories to tell to bridge the gap between, me being Obi-Wan and growing up into Sir Alec Guinness's Obi-Wan. So I completely agree.
Which I thought was really cool. It was a cool comment. I saw that as well. And I appreciate Ewan McGregor's respect for Alec Guinness's. I love his respect for the character and how much he loves this character. It really comes through in his performances, and it makes us love the character even more. So, wow.
And that's something that he said he's always kept in mind is that, I want my character to grow into being Sir Alec Guinness's portrayal of Obi-Wan. So he's got that goal in mind. He's got that reverence for and respect for Sir Alec Guinness and his portrayal of Obi-Wan, which, the whole reason that we have Ewan McGregor's Obi-Wan is because people love, Obi-Wan's among those characters that people love from the original trilogy. So
he really is. Yeah. His and so much of that obviously had to do with Alec Guinness's portrayal. So, this character has had 2 fantastic actors, to play him. And then some good voice actors, in the animated series. And Obi-Wan, were I to rank, my favorite characters, Obi-Wan would definitely be top 3, if not my favorite. I absolutely love him. I think, as I've said before, I think Obi-Wan is the quintessential Jedi.
Yeah.
I think he maybe above all of the Jedi that we see, in the whole Star Wars story, books, animated series, comics, movies, TV series. I think Obi-Wan, to me, is most closely resembles the quintessential Jedi.
Yeah.
This is, you look in the dictionary under Jedi and you find his picture.
Yeah.
So anyway, well, let's get right into this.
Yeah, let's go.
We had let's recap part 5, and just to give us an idea, where we come into the beginning of this one. Part 5, we finally get the Obi-Wan and Anakin together scene, right off the bat. The episode opens with the two in a practice duel. Again, love this. It's one of my favorite scenes, if not my favorite scene in the entire series. We get to see Hayden Christensen reprise his role as Anakin. Obi-Wan and Leia are on Jabim, where the Jedi and others who are Force sensitive are in hiding. Reva has placed a tracker on Leia's droid, and she and Vader are headed there to take him out and to get Obi-Wan. This is going to be a twofer for them, they think. Obi-Wan and the resistance, the insurgents.
Rebellion.
Obi-Wan needs to get Leia home, but they're delayed when Lola sabotages the launch bay doors and prevents their escape from Jabim. Now, while they're trying to figure all that, Reva arrives, and Obi-Wan attempts to stall for time by talking to her, realizing that Vader, wants him at all costs. He knows that he is the intended target, again, trying to, lure Vader away from the insurgents. Obi-Wan figures out that she was one of the Padawans who was in the Jedi Temple during Order 66, which we suspected, but that was a big confirmation of what we had suspected, and that was really a cool moment there when Obi-Wan pieces all that together. Anakin slaughtered her friends, so she is looking for the opportunity to kill him. She is not serving him. We established that. Of course, Leia crawls into the vents, trying to fix the problem, open the doors. Throughout the episode, Obi-Wan and Vader are having flashbacks, like parallel flashbacks of the practice duel and what is currently happening in the action. They mirror each other, which is wonderful writing and direction. Anakin was very aggressive in that practice duel, and Obi-Wan continues to warn them that his need to prove himself is going to be his undoing. Reva forces her way into the base when Obi-Wan surrenders to her, but he convinces her to let him help her stop Vader. Sort of, kind of, they form an awkward alliance there. When Vader comes in, he tries to stop the transport from taking off. All this time that Obi-Wan has been stalling has been to get the rest of the people who are in that base out. Tala actually sacrifices herself in the duel, which really hurts our feelings, because in the short time that we've known Tala, we really grew to like her character. And she was portrayed very well. She sacrifices herself to stop the stormtroopers so that everybody else can can retreat to the hangar and get aboard the transport. Really cool moment when Vader tries to stop that transport using the Force from taking off. That was epic. That was so cool. The camera angles were fantastic. The music was great. He forces it down and rips out the side, to try and get to whoever's inside. But it turns out to be a decoy, and another transport takes off behind it. And, of course, that's the one that actually, has the insurgents on it, and they take off and they're gone. So at that point, Reva then, of course, tries to sneak up on Vader, but he turns on her, tells her that he's known all along that she was plotting against him. He runs her through with her own lightsaber to add insult to injury. And then the Grand Inquisitor enters. We learn that he is not dead. Reva in one of the previous episodes had thought that she killed him by running him through. They, drop some insults, and then they leave her for dead. Now, before she, as she is struggling there, on the ground, she finds the holo emitter that Haja has dropped, and it contains a message to Obi-Wan from Bail. And she's just what's still there. It's damaged, but what is still there, she learns that there is the boy is on Tatooine, and so then we're and at that point, Obi-Wan feels his disturbance in the Force, because he knows that something really bad has happened. And of course, we're all panicked because the last scene that we see is a young Luke peacefully asleep in his bed, and we know that Reva is headed to get him. So it was an action. Episode 5 was really action packed.
Yes, it was.
We saw again, further character development. It was a good episode. So that's kind of where we are. Yeah,
welcome in, Ian B. Thanks for being here.
We're there. Hey, good to see you. Oh, Movie Mania Nick, good to see you. I'm sorry, I was not paying attention to the chat. It's good to see everybody. We appreciate y'all.
Thanks for being here, Nick.
Popping in. Oh, we totally need a second season. Right, Kevin?
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, Dean had said second and maybe even a third also.
Why not? Why not? So, absolutely.
Opening scene of part 6, the finale. We're on Tatooine. You see some Jawas in the busy marketplace filled with people. We see the bully from the meat processing plant.
Yeah.
Being a bully here in the marketplace, and Reva bullies him, which is really funny.
It is, yeah.
And
he gets a little taste of his own medicine.
Yeah, throws the water out of his hand. So it's nice to get him, see him get his receipt for being
a little, but a little payback here.
Reva questions the market. The person running the little stand in the marketplace, she's looking for Owen, a farmer. We see Leia is using Lola to comfort the children on the transport. Again, she's assuming a leadership role that's far beyond her years. She tells Obi-Wan that they're scared, and that Lola keeps their minds off of what's going on. And Obi-Wan says maybe I should borrow her too.
Right.
In a shop, we see young Luke tell the shopkeeper they need a new belt for the speeder, and Owen notes that it's because somebody broke the last one, and the shopkeep says, your uncle is a patient man, and Owen says, not that patient. But the shop, the little stand owner, who Reva had approached, finds Owen in the store and saying that there's something he needs to know. So we could tell that obviously he squealed. On the transport, we see Vader's ship. We see the Imperial Star Destroyer, chasing the transport that left Jabim with all the rebels on it. Roken has told Obi-Wan that the damage to the ship, there's so much damage to the ship that they won't make it to Tessin. Obi-Wan knows that he can buy them time. He decides to leave the ship. They try to persuade him not to, but he decides to leave the ship so that Vader will follow him and not the transport.
He basically has to, because they're all against it. They want him to stay. They want everybody to stay together. And he says, this is your best shot. That this is your best shot, that he's after me. I can lure him away, and you need to get these people to safety. So again, Obi-Wan's first inclination is selfless protection of other people. He's really a selfless person.
We see the people are protesting, what about all of us getting there? And then, what happened to all of us getting there? And Obi-Wan tells them, they've protected the Jedi long enough. And he tells them, you all are the future. And he says to Leia specifically, you are the future. You are what needs to survive. And Leia, is obviously upset.
Welcome in, Amy.
She doesn't want to lose him. And she protests, and says no, and walks away. She's very upset.
She's very upset. She's
Obi-Wan goes to follow.
She's mad at him, I think.
Yeah.
I think she's mad at him. Yeah.
Obi-Wan goes to follow after, and he's stopped by Haja Estri. And Obi-Wan tells Haja, he says, give her some space, give her a little bit of time. And, he goes to talk to her. And Obi-Wan tells Haja that he must promise to get Leia home as soon as he's in the clear.
Yeah.
Haja says, "You have my word, although I know that the word of a liar and a fake Jedi may not mean much to you." And Obi-Wan says, "It's good enough for me." You can tell that from Haja's expression that Obi-Wan's faith in him really means a lot.
Yeah.
And
Haja's really coming into his own. He's turned over a new leaf, and I think he's really loving the new person that he is. I think he is enjoying being the hero. He's raised the bar for himself. So he's a good character.
Oh yes. So we cut back to Tatooine. Owen and Luke return from the market. Owen tells Beru that the Inquisitor is coming. They need to take Luke and hide in the desert. Beru insists on staying. She doesn't want anybody else to get hurt. He tells her, it's kind of funny because he tells her that Ben is gone, and she says, "Well, whose fault is that?"
Yeah.
Which it's pretty solid barb. And it says that they have no help. And Beru tells him that they're enough, and she takes charge. And
she does. Wow.
And they've got blasters, hidden in their home. And she, goes to remove the little compartment that holds the blasters and tosses one to Owen. And
I think he's kind of surprised. He's
he is.
Okay.
I mean, Beru decides, we're holding out. We're protecting this house. We're holding down this fort.
We're not leaving.
Yeah. And and so anyway, she 100% takes charge. It's pretty awesome.
She kicks into Mama Bear mode here. She really does. She's Luke's mom.
Yeah.
Is there anything that we wouldn't do as parents to protect our kiddos?
Yeah.
I can really relate to this.
Yeah. And we get the line later on. Yeah. We get the line later on from between Reva and Owen. She says, "You love him like one of your own, don't you?" And he says, "He is one of my own," or "He is my own," is what he says. And so, I mean, Luke means a whole lot to Owen and Beru, and and they've decided they're gonna they're gonna take their stand. It's gonna be right here in our home. So, they arm themselves. Beru tells them that they need to be prepared, that the Inquisitor will come as soon as the suns go down. Cut back to the ship.
Owen's just kind of standing there and does what she says.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Cut back to the ship. Haja ends the talk with Leia as Obi-Wan enters, and she says, "You said you'd take me home." And Obi-Wan says, "Please tell your father I tried."
It's almost an accusation.
Yeah.
You said you'd take me home. I mean, she's hacked.
Yeah.
Leia's upset.
And he presents, he gives her Tala's holster, saying that, Roken found it as they were escaping. And he tells her that, Tala would want Leia to have it. It's got the notches in it, from the stormtroopers, Imperials that she had taken out. And it's really funny because Leia, mentions that it's empty. And then Obi-Wan says, "Well, I wasn't going to give you a blaster, Leia. You're 10 years old." But he does follow that up with, "But you won't always be." So Obi-Wan knows good and well that blaster, like that holster is going to be holding a blaster. At some point. But it's very funny. You're 10. What? I'm not going to give you a blaster. So it's a very emotional scene. She hugs him and says, "Come back, please." He promises to. Obi-Wan takes a second after this discussion in private, talks to, she's trying to talk to Qui-Gon again. He says, "I have to face him, Master. Whether he dies or I do, this ends today." So, definitely.
So again, addressing Qui-Gon, all through this, Obi-Wan has talked to Qui-Gon.
Yeah.
And I think he knows that Qui-Gon is there. He's aware of the whole Force Ghost thing.
Yeah.
But he really is in hopes that Qui-Gon will appear to him.
Yeah.
And
I mean, if you remember, Yoda says more training I have for you. And he talks about how Qui-Gon, it's basically, I mean, he basically alludes to the fact that Qui-Gon has figured out a way to communicate via the Force.
Right.
And so Roken tells Obi-Wan that the drop ship's all set for him. Again, he tries to talk Obi-Wan out of going. He even tries to kind of accuse him. It's not about us. It's about you, and it's about him, isn't it? He realizes, he eventually comes to realize that Obi-Wan has to face Vader and tells him to be safe. And Obi-Wan, encourages him to continue to be a good leader. You're going to need leaders. And he tells him, don't stop. And Roken says, I'm just getting started.
I think that, I understand Roken's angle on this, but it's almost like he's accusing Obi-Wan of being obsessed with Vader.
Yeah.
When it's the other way around.
Mm-hmm.
Obi-Wan knows that Vader is obsessed with him, and he has to do what he can to protect these people. He has to do what he can to put an end to to his torture.
I mean, it's the only way they're going to get out of this. Otherwise, they're going to get blown into the cold grips of space by this Imperial Star Destroyer that's pursuing them. So I mean, it's their only shot. They got there's no other way.
So Obi-Wan is in control here.
Yeah,
I have no doubt that throughout the series, Obi-Wan stays in control, which is admirable under such dire circumstances.
Yeah. On Vader's ship, they see Obi-Wan's ship break away from the transport. And it's they mention that there's one life form, and sure enough, Vader knows it's him. And the Grand Inquisitor, tells him, tries to persuade Vader, why prioritize? We can choke out this rebellion right here and right now. These insurgents,
take out the insurgents, exactly.
And in this, not why prioritize one lone Jedi above them, but Vader orders them to follow Obi-Wan's ship,
because he is obsessed.
Yeah.
Obi-Wan. Vader is not. Vader is obsessed.
It's kind of funny too, because when you think about it, like Vader could have easily done the same thing, like broke it out of the Star Destroyer and in his own ship and pursued Obi-Wan. But anyway.
That's true. That's a good point.
Yeah.
And he didn't.
Yeah.
That's true.
On Tatooine, Owen hurriedly tells Luke to hide, that the Tuskens are raiding. He doesn't want to scare Luke, any more, than he has to by telling him that an Inquisitor is coming to kill him. So
that's not something you share with a 10-year-old.
Yeah. Anyway, he's trying to protect Luke. Give him at least some peace of mind. Vader says, "Prepare my ship. I will face him alone." Obi-Wan lands on what fans have speculated to be Malachor 5. It's been pointing out that
this planet is not identified necessarily, so we're just trying to figure out. Go ahead.
Let's see. It's been pointed out the rocky terrain of this mystery planet looks a lot like the rocks of Malachor 5, which once housed a great Sith temple. Interesting. Note, there's a lot of evidence backing from this theory. For starters, Jabim, the past final destination, is an outer rim planet just like Malachor, and they seem to both be in the northeast quadrant of the galaxy, so it's likely Malachor was simply en route and provided an easy location for the duel. Obi-Wan hears a beep and realizes that it's Lola in his pocket. Leia sent her with him. Very, very, very sweet.
And remember that he had told her, she said she was comforting, the children with Lola. And he said, well, maybe I need, Lola too. And she actually sends Lola with him, which is so sweet. That was a really neat moment.
We cut back to Tatooine. We see Reva approaching the farm. Perimeter alarms go off, and Owen knows that she's nearby, that she's coming. We see Vader's ship land on the rocky planet, and he comes down the gangway. We hear the iconic menacing breathing, and he faces Obi-Wan. And Vader says, "Have you come to destroy me, Obi-Wan?" Obi-Wan says, "I will do what I must," which, throw back to Revenge of the Sith. I will do what I must. And he says, "You will try." And here, Vader tells him, and Obi-Wan takes his lightsaber and assumes a defensive posture. Vader tells him, "Then you will die." So there's so much dialogue, throughout this episode that you can tie to other pieces, other Star Wars content. So, wow, the suspense of entertaining scenes, it was crazy intense.
It was. It was fantastic writing. I think it was fantastic writing.
They start dueling. The action here is really cool. The scene is dark, so we see get a great shots of the lightsabers clashing as they fight. The red and blue contrasting on screen is really, really cool.
Good background music here.
So we see, we see Reva, under cover of night, sure enough, enters into the Lars home, and Owen and Beru just start unloading on her. I mean, I'm about to say it's funny too because they're throwing stuff at her, they're pushing stuff off ledges at her, they're firing at her. They're throwing kitchen sink, exactly. They're throwing everything they can at her, trying to slow her down or stop her. They're defending their home. And they're defending Luke because they understand how important he is, not only to, the overall big picture, but also to them as well.
I couldn't help thinking of the Thanos line from the Avengers movies. "You should have gone for the head."
Yeah.
Oh boy.
So yeah, I thought that was like, I love that they, they just armed themselves.
All out.
Yeah. They armed themselves and they were ready to do whatever it took to neutralize this threat coming after Luke. And so anyway, it's solid.
Strong scene. It's a strong scene.
And so anyway, so I wanted to mention one other thing that I thought that other people had. We know what happens to Owen and Beru eventually, where they
defending.
Defending their home again.
It ultimately cost them their lives. Yeah.
People have since speculated because of the show. It's like, man,
thanks for popping in.
Like, I wonder how much it took for them. Granted they were older. Whenever they were eventually died, but they wondered how many waves of stormtrooper or Imperial forces that it must have took, to take out both of them. And so, have a good one, Nick. Thanks for being here. So cut back to the duel between Obi-Wan and Vader. Vader pauses to move so Obi-Wan goes, they're fighting and Obi-Wan goes to pull this large rock onto Vader, and Vader stops it and tells Obi-Wan, "Your strength has returned, but the weakness still remains." And they continue fighting. He goes to throw a chunk of the rock at Obi-Wan and he slices through it. And so they just, the fight scene is so stinking good.
It is.
And I talked with my buddy Daryl. Yeah. I talked with my buddy Daryl yesterday about it. And he said, this scene, of all the fights that we've seen in Star Wars, all the, duels, this
and there
scene,
have been some good ones.
Yeah. This scene has probably, he said, in his opinion, as far as live action goes, this is the best use of force in a duel in all of Star Wars, which I can't say that I disagree, because
I have to think about it, but I tend to agree.
They're throwing the boulders. They are, at one point,
it's a great scene. The planet is dark.
Darth Vader does like impulse hits the ground and cracks the ground to get the giant hole to fall under Obi-Wan. And then, later in this fight, Obi-Wan's throwing those boulders at Vader. Like he said, he thinks it's the best use of force in a duel, it like to complement the lightsaber, and the lightsaber duel is fantastic too. And so just it's solid. I mean, you've got two force users that are just off the charts powerful. And it's really, really cool.
I think so, but
let's see here. Back to where we were. Again, Vader, then concusses the ground. They continue to fight. Vader concusses the ground and causes it to split. And there's a large crater that forms under Obi-Wan, and he falls into this crater. And Vader force throws rocks on top of him, basically trying to bury him alive. And he says, "Did you truly think that you could defeat me? You have failed, Master." He's throwing all this stuff, on top of him, and thinks he's defeated him. And Obi-Wan's basically holding it all off of himself with the Force, because he's trying to keep himself from being crushed by all these boulders. We cut back to Tatooine again. Reva corners Owen, says that he really loves the boy like he was his own, and Owen says he is my own. Reva leaves, and Owen, he fights hard. Like he, punches her in the gut, and he like swings this big pole at her, and it hits her and stuff. And so, I mean, you have to remember, a lot of people, people have mentioned it's like, oh, well, she could have easily, wiped out both Owen and Baruch, but that's not who she was there for. You have to keep that in mind. And then also too, she's also, I mean, she took a lightsaber stab to the gut. I mean, I'm sorry, but she's not going to be.
Doesn't feel well.
She's not 100%.
She's not 100%. That's very true.
Anyway, Owen.
I think these people are not taking that into consideration, but they're also not taking into consideration how hard you would fight if your child was in danger.
Yeah.
And I love this line. I love that. She said that they included this. You love him like he was your own. Yeah. And Owen says he is my own. Mm-hmm. And the twins are adopted. Luke and Leia were adopted by the Organas and the Lars families, but it really emphasizes, and I think anybody who people who have been adopted really can relate to these scenes, and how much Bail and Breha love Leia, and how much Owen and Beru love Luke. They are their children. So I love that. I love that. Yeah.
Hello there, Mandy Adams.
Again later.
Yeah.
Mandy Adams.
Definitely.
Hello.
I completely agree. That's a great point. And Owen falls down, and you can see him kind of hit his knee, and it hobbles him, and he continues to sell the injury, throughout the rest. I mean, throughout the rest of the scenes you see him in, he's selling that injury to the knee. And he yells to Beru saying, she's coming. And it's funny because Reva goes through the door and just gets smacked by Beru. And it gives Luke enough time to climb up a little ladder out a hatch and get a head start running across the sands of Tatooine away from Reva, just as he was instructed by Owen. Reva, chases after. You can tell she's hurting, but she's got a lot of rage and aggression built up, and she's trying to pursue after Luke as they have a probably somewhat low speed chase across the desert. But they're both running as hard as they can. So buried in the rubble, we see Obi-Wan gets these flashbacks of Anakin, saying, "This is the end for you, my master. Admit you are beaten." Vader.
So so Obi-Wan is buried in the rubble. And if he doesn't suck it up here, this could actually be the end of him.
Oh yeah.
If he gives up here, so he's like basically seeing his life flash before his eyes.
Yeah.
Under all this rubble. And go ahead.
Oh no, you're good. Welcome in, Stacy. The Disney Nerd Herders. Thanks for being here. So yeah, exactly. He's hearing all these voices. You cannot run, Obi-Wan. Anakin, the quote from Anakin, "I see through the lies of the Jedi. You are my enemy. Vader, you should have killed me when you had the chance. Anakin, I do not fear the dark side." Yeah. "I do not fear the dark side. And Vader, I am what you made me." Then he remembers Leia's smile, Luke's face, and he force pushes the rocks off of himself.
Yeah.
And kind of force jumps his way up up through the out of the crater, back up to the top, and climbs over.
The emotions, the emotions that he feels when he's hearing Anakin and Vader, say all of these things in his mind. And then his mind turns to Luke and Leia.
Yeah.
And, Leia smile, and he sees, Luke, and it revitalizes him. He gets a second wind, as it were.
It reminds him what he's fighting for.
Absolutely.
And so, as he, I think to kind of parallel it, you kind of think of Harry Potter, where his mother's love is what saves him from Voldemort. Here Obi-Wan has the inspiration of knowing how important both Leia and Luke are to the overall story, and also to him as well. The feelings that he has, the love that he has for them as well. And so that gives him the strength he needs to to fight his way out of the gutter, if you will. So we see Vader walking away, and he turns to see Obi-Wan there again. They fight some more, and Obi-Wan puts it on him. He really does a number on Darth Vader.
Yeah. If we had any doubt about the Force, being strong with this one, again, they're erased in this scene. He's back to full force.
So they the action's great. The dueling is great with the lightsabers. And Obi-Wan pushes him back into the rocks. He like hits him in his chest, like in his chest piece.
Yeah,
and also
just man.
Yeah, it slashes him across the back also. And so we have not seen Darth Vader take a whooping like this.
Thanks, Mandy.
And thank you, Mandy. Appreciate you being here.
We like it.
And so anyway, Obi-Wan puts it on him for sure, and he pushes him back into this rock, and then I've seen people joke and said that say that there's a meme that has Darth Vader with or a little student with the Darth Vader face put over the student's head and the teacher sitting next to him, and the meme basically says something to the effect of, it's like, okay, why did Obi-Wan beat you the first time? And it's like, because he had the high ground. And it says, and then the next one's like, so you threw him in a hole, and then you threw rocks on top of him. You threw him in the hole, and you had the high ground, and then you threw the high ground at him. And so, and then it's like, so what did you give him? It says the high ground. Anyway,
that's hilarious.
It's very funny.
Is that a meme?
There have been a lot of great memes to come out of this show.
Well, I saw a good one too. That I'll bring up a little bit later. But
so he gets pushed. He gets pushed in the rock, and then Obi-Wan levitates all these rocks, like all these boulders. It looks really cool. Throws his arms up and just starts launching all these boulders at him. And
crazy.
Another one that I saw about this scene was, jokingly it says, hey, Anakin, do you know what these boulders are made out of? And talking about sand and how Anakin doesn't. I don't like sand. is another one, another meme for this fight. Yeah, and so anyway, it's not to take away from the gravity of this moment. It's super cool. I mean, he picks up all these boulders and just launch them at Darth, and Darth is he's just trying to. He's basically just taking it.
He's in a defensive posture.
Yeah,
I mean, he is. Obi-Wan literally has him down. This is the strongest. This is the strongest moment. I really feel like this is the strongest moment we've ever seen Obi-Wan have. It's his strongest force moment. If you thought that the first part of the duel was intense, just hold my blue milk, because this one is amazing. So it's well choreographed. The scene is incredible. The music is good here.
It is.
It's fantastic. It's fantastic. It really, it's what we wanted to see. It's what we wanted to see.
Oh, it's so good. And so anyway, he pelts him with these boulders, and then let's see. Sorry to jump ahead. Sorry, I'm looking. Okay, here we go. I'm trying to remember which part of the scene that the helmet slash goes through. So he's throwing all these boulders at him. Vader groans, but he recovers to fight some more. It's really cool.
Yeah, and Vader is making all these great noises in James Earl Jones's voice. To hear James Earl Jones groan and moan, it's in that voice. Anyway, it's great.
We cut back to Tatooine and see Reva pursuing Luke into the desert. Luke's trying to hide on the higher rocks up on a ridge. We cut back to Obi-Wan. He gets the upper hand, and he strikes at Vader's chest plate, and he begins to wheeze some. Same kind of sound we heard in Return of the Jedi. He screams and groans. Obi-Wan force pushes him back and then runs at him. And so he slashes him on the back too during this scene, but he runs at him, and then he does a jumping move, jump and twist move, and cuts through the left side of Vader's helmet. And Vader's very, obviously badly injured at this point and struggles to get up. He stands and faces Obi-Wan, exposing his face, and Obi-Wan looks at him, in horror.
He's just,
I mean, he knows he's Anakin, but to actually see his face, gives him pause. And real quick, while we're here, people think about stuff. Obi-Wan's slash to Vader is over his left eye, in which parallels what happens in Star Wars Rebels with Ahsoka and Anakin and Vader, and Anakin slash Vader. The slash is over the right eye.
Yes.
And so it 100% parallels it. But here is the point that someone made, and I think it's fantastic. Obi-Wan saw the left side of Anakin's face. Ahsoka saw the right side of Anakin's face. Luke saw all of Anakin's face.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really, really neat. A great point. And so anyway, it was very, I think it was a great point. It's definitely worth mentioning, because it's powerful.
Oh yeah, it was. And his, Ahsoka was actually Anakin's Padawan, for those of you who don't know Ahsoka's background. And this duel that they had was, I should have looked up that episode. I'll try to put a note in the description below after we sign off here. But Ahsoka dueled Anakin or Vader after he became Vader. In an episode of Rebels, Star Wars Rebels, the animated series. And
Twilight of the Apprentice, Rebels season 2, episode 4. Per a quick Google search, Twilight of the Apprentice. It's the finale episode of season 2, according to a quick search.
Okay.
Let's see here.
Okay.
Sorry, back to the notes.
Of Rebels. Okay.
So yes, many of the moves are the same. She cuts through his helmet too to reveal the left side of his face. Still hoping that for some remnant of his friend, Obi-Wan calls out to him, Anakin. And I love the mix that they do of Hayden Christenson's voice and James Earl Jones's voice. Just the mixing of the two, these next several scenes is
brilliant.
Brilliant. It's fantastic. And so you hear this mixed voice. Anakin's gone. I am what remains. Obi-Wan says, I'm sorry, Anakin, for all of it. Vader says, I am not your failure, Obi-Wan. You didn't kill Anakin Skywalker. I did. Pause for effect, and then he continues, the same way I will destroy you. So anyway, technically, from a certain point of view, Obi-Wan was right in saying that Darth Vader killed Anakin, and so that's another meme people have shared. Is that's literally what he told me. Anyway,
that's true. I got it from the horse's mouth, folks.
Yeah.
So this is a plot hole. It's like a plot hole. Plug. Because.
And so anyway, pretty funny. But this next line, which again. I think people made a great suggestion here as well. The next line from Obi-Wan is, "Then my friend is truly, truly dead. Goodbye, Darth." People have said
for the first time.
He's called him Anakin the whole time. Mm-hmm. And so, it's Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan has held out some level of hope all the way up to this moment that.
Anakin was still there.
That Anakin was still in there somewhere, and so people have suggested, they should have inserted, instead of "then my friend is truly dead," then "my brother is truly dead," because we have the line from Luke that says, "then my father is truly dead."
Right.
So people have suggested they should have slid in brother instead of friend there.
That's a good.
And so anyway. Obi-Wan turns and leaves, finally accepting that Anakin truly is gone. This is the first time he's referred to him as Darth.
And later on in A New Hope, he calls him Darth. Instead of Vader, most people say Vader. Obi-Wan calls him Darth instead. It's interesting.
Vader screams, Obi-Wan, Obi-Wan. But he doesn't have the strength to pursue him. I mean, he's messed up. Obviously, he's having breathing issues since his helmet's sliced open. He got sliced across the back. Chest plates got smacked around a little bit. And so it's
we need a little bit more than the back to tank here. A little help here.
The mix of the two voices, Hayden Christensen and James Earl Jones, is so good, and the makeup is also very good. Obi-Wan gets out of there, and this has to eat Darth Vader up big time. Because
his hatred for Obi-Wan is absolutely consuming him. We're even past the obsession is an understatement at this point.
Obi-Wan takes off en route to Tatooine to help Luke. Luke falls from the high rocks because of Reva. She kind of yanks the rocks out from underneath him. He falls down the side of this kind of cliff face, rolls down the side of it, comes tumbling down. Obi-Wan feels his panic in the Force and calls out his name and engages the hyperdrive. And he's got Lola there in the cabin of the ship as well.
He's headed for Tatooine, wide open, guys.
And hey, Daniel, welcome in. Great to see you.
Thanks so much for being here. Good to see you. Always.
So obviously,
we've in high gear.
things are dire. I mean, we just got through with a fight with Darth Vader, and we're not through the thick of it yet. And so anyway, he let's see here. So he falls. Obi-Wan realizes they got to step on it. They, engages the hyperdrive. Bound for Tatooine. Reva finally corners Luke. And he's laying there kind of lifeless, and she ignites her lightsaber to raise it to kill him. But she keeps seeing flashes of, she sees herself as she literally sees the young version of herself laying there
As
instead
Padawan.
of Luke, young Luke.
Except this time she is in Anakin's position, about to kill.
And so,
this kid.
we keep seeing flashes between, what happened to her, and what Anakin did to her during Order 66. And she, and she's got to make a choice. Am I going to become him? Am I willing to stoop so low as to exact what I believe to be justice? For what happened to me, revenge is not the way of the Jedi. And obviously she's stepped away from that way of life, but is it worth it to kill this, innocent young boy, to exact vengeance for what happened to me and whenever I was young, to cause that same hurt to someone else? And so anyway, she's got all these thoughts going on as, which, not literally, those are my thoughts on the situation. But, she just keeps seeing herself and flashback to what happened to her and what Anakin did to her during Order 66. So we see Obi-Wan land near the farm. Beru and Owen are calling out for Luke. They see Reva approaching in the distance, carrying Luke, who's unconscious, looks lifeless. You're wondering, what she tried to do. And she lays him on the ground, and he kind of groans, and all of them realize that he's still alive. Owen picks him up. And Reva cries, "I couldn't do it. I failed them. He killed them all, and I couldn't do it." And Obi-Wan tells her,
Reva, at this point, Reva just breaks down.
Yeah.
She has carried this burden since she was a child.
Yeah.
And she just collapses on the sand and breaks down and says, "I couldn't do it." She's really having a moment here.
And credit to Moses Ingram. We feel like her performance and her character, over the series of the show, really, they really got better, much better, especially leading up to this point.
That's true.
And so she nailed this here, this particular scene, just expressing all that grief, Obi-Wan tells her, "You haven't failed them. By showing them mercy, you have given them peace. By showing him mercy, that you have given them peace. You have honored them." And Reva asks, "Have I become him?" Talking about Darth Vader and Anakin. Obi-Wan says, "No, you have chosen not to. Who you become now, that is up to you." So very, very impactful, and she, there's lots of emotions in this scene. Ian says this is where Reva made sense to me. Definitely. Reva sobs and she throws her lightsaber on the ground there on the sands of Tatooine.
So she's made a choice. She's made a choice, and she, it's really throughout this particular series, Obi-Wan says so many things that really display so much insight. This is Yoda-esque. So many of the things that he says are Yoda-esque. In that his wisdom here and his ability to discern the deeper situation, not just what's on the surface. I think that's one thing that Anakin never learned. Anakin Vader is a surface guy. He where Obi-Wan is a dig deeper person, and Obi-Wan manifests that throughout this series, I think.
And so he drops this, Yoda-esque line, as Mom said, "Now you are free. We both are." So Vader, had actually absolved Obi-Wan of that guilt that he'd carried for so long for failing him. And that, he, Obi-Wan has to realize Anakin chose his path. He chose his path. Obi-Wan did everything in his power to guide him away from that path. But Anakin,
And I feel like
at the end of
up until that duel that they had, William, I feel like he still would have. I
Yeah.
mean, I feel like Obi-Wan still would have
Yeah.
done anything that he could to get Anakin back.
Oh, of course,
really
yeah. He still thought of him as his brother, you know, and so Obi-Wan had carried all this guilt for so long. And, you know, after this interaction
10 years.
and him, you know, hearing it from the horse's mouth, if you will, you know, Obi-Wan did not, you know, cause Anakin to turn to the dark side. Anakin chose the dark side.
He did.
And so, you know, he says, you know, Darth Vader killed Anakin. And so that, you know, that kind of lifts, you know, the grief and the burden, you know, because I mean, at the end of the day, like I said, he chose that. That was the path he chose. He was, now, was he seduced by the dark side? By, you know, the Emperor, you know, putting the, you know, little, you know, bugs in his ear, if you will. Yeah. He 100% was. Yeah. But, you know, fear is what drove Anakin that path. And so by showing compassion to Luke, so that, you know, that's what freed, you know, to know that Darth takes full responsibility for killing Anakin Skywalker, is, you know, it makes Obi-Wan free, and Reva choosing a different path than what had, you know, what Anakin had inflicted upon her and the younglings. She had finally freed herself from the guilt and anger she'd carried all these years. And so we cut back to Vader's castle on Mustafar. He's talking with the Emperor via hologram, which was cool. And it's kind of funny because the Emperor, like, detects that something's off after this encounter. And you know, another meme somebody posted was, you know, it showed the Emperor's like, "You good, bro?" like, and so Vader assures the Emperor he will destroy everything in his path until Kenobi is found. The Emperor suggests that Vader's thoughts are unclear, that his feelings for his old master are causing conflict. And Vader says, "Kenobi means nothing. I serve only you, my master." And so this is, you know, like this, to me, him calling him that, which, you know, I'm sure he called him that before, but after said, you know, the duel that just happened, there's no question in my mind, he's fully committed to serving the Emperor and the Emperor's needs, if you will. And we hear the Imperial March playing as the camera pans backward. Really cool throne scene. You kind of see the lava through the, you know, windows on the side.
Mustafar. Wow. Yeah. So this is Vader's castle. I didn't even know Vader had a castle until like last year when I did like a Legos Star Wars Advent calendar, and Vader's castle was one of the days. And I did, you know, Wikipedia.com, y'all, it's a thing. And I read about Vader's castle. It's really interesting. But on Mustafar. So
we cut away from these very tense scenes, over, you know, very emotional, intense scenes. We cut to Alderaan and a scenic view of the palace. Finally, back in her own room.
Is light.
Yes, it is. The mood completely changes.
Light.
We see Leia putting the final touches on an outfit. You know, all white outfit. She has she puts some gloves on, you know, that look like rebel gloves.
Boots.
And
the brown boots.
Yeah, she puts on the brown boots and snaps them up, and then, you know, puts on the holster from Tala. And
she's changing her look here.
And so she's got her braids wrapped up into buns on the sides of her head. And got her kind of top of her head.
We're seeing a preview of the Leia that we know. We're seeing
shades of adult Leia, who did become a great warrior, just as Tala and Obi-Wan predicted. We see Bria enter to hurry Leia along, and she stops short when she sees Leia's new look. She looks at the outfit.
It's not the prim and proper little princess outfit.
She looks at the outfit and then asks her, "Is that a holster?" And we're wondering how, you know, with this question, how Bria will react to Leia kind of embracing this new style. And Brea pauses and then says, "I love it." So affirmation from Brea for
Kudos
Leia.
to Brea.
Yeah.
Kudos to Brea, who is probably something of a warrior herself, I must
Yeah.
say.
On the back on the landing pad where we had previously seen, the cousin and Brea's brother, their family show up. Back on the landing pad, Leia and Bail and Brea are all there. Bail's surprised by they're watching a ship come into land. Bail is surprised by Leia's new outlook. He says that, or she says to him, "You said there are many ways to lead." Bail says, "Looks like I was right." Leia said, "If I'm going
They're
to
so
do this,"
proud of her. I love.
Oh yeah, they are.
Pride in their eyes. I love that. Love it.
Leia says, "If I'm going to do this, I'm going to want to change a few things."
Mm-hmm.
Bail says, "Then let's change things together." So again, affirmation from Brea
Encourage
and
your kid.
yeah.
Encourage your kid, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Because they believe what you tell them. Children
Leia asked if they're greeting more cousins. Bail says, "Not exactly." We see a smiling Obi-Wan exit the ship with Lola flying and beeping happily behind him.
And at this point, I'm going, yeah. I'm just doing my happy dance. It's
and
Lola
a smiling
off. It's great.
Yeah, we think that Leia will run to hug Obi-Wan, but she cries Lola and excitedly runs past him to her droid, which is really funny. Obi-Wan goes and hugs Bail and greets Brea. Bail says, "We can never repay you." Obi-Wan says, "Well, she has already done that."
Mm-hmm.
Bail, expresses concerns and fear for Leia's future, saying the Empire grows stronger and bolder. Obi-Wan tells him that if he ever needs his help again, he knows where to find him. So, this you could tell Obi-Wan's growth over the course of this show as well.
Yeah.
Because he didn't want to get involved.
Person.
Yeah. He didn't want to get involved in the first place.
Yeah.
And so, obviously
healing has taken place.
Yeah.
Healing has taken place.
It's a nod to Bail asking for his help in A New Hope. 9 years after this scene, Leia reaching out, you served alongside my father in the Clone Wars.
Mm-hmm. I need your help. You're my only hope, Obi-Wan.
Yeah. And Obi-Wan approaches Leia, smiles at her. He asks what he should do next. And she tells him, "I think that you should get some sleep," which is really funny. And it's nice to see Obi-Wan smiling again. I
think it's the first time in a series that we see him smile.
He gets a very good, a belly laugh out of this. And he kneels and talks to her and says, when I said before that I didn't know your parents, Princess Leia Organa," using her formal title, "you are wise, discerning, kind-hearted. These are qualities that came from your mother. But you are also passionate, fearless, forthright. And these are gifts from your father. Both were exceptional people who bore an exceptional daughter. I wish I could tell you more." And Leia looks, and he's saying this to Leia, and then Leia looks lovingly at Brea and Bail and says, "It's okay, you don't have to. Thank you." And she asks if she'll ever see him again, and he responds, "Maybe if you ever need help. If you ever need help from a tired old man." Messing with her from her, previous comments to him. Leia laughs. Obi-Wan says, "But we must be careful. No one must know, or it could endanger us both." And Leia hugs him, says, "Goodbye, Obi-Wan." And Obi-Wan says, "Goodbye, Princess. May the Force be with you." When Leia tells Obi-Wan that he doesn't need to tell her more about her birth parents, we realize that it's because she recognizes that Brea and Bail are her parents.
Right.
Again,
anyone who's adopted can really relate to this scene, I think, especially after Leia's cousin, if you recall, had told her that she wasn't a real Organa earlier in the series. You remember that? You're not even a real Organa. He was really, hitting below the belt with that one. And Leia, after all she's been through, she really understands now that she is a real Organa.
Yeah.
So it's very touching. Very
touching.
I loved it too. Daniel, this was one of my favorite scenes in the whole series. It was.
Obi-Wan releases her hand and nods to Bria and Bell and boards his ship. He looks back one more time at Leia, reunited with her parents. So Haja came through.
Yeah,
The rebels made it where they needed to go safely.
Yeah.
Haja came through and got Leia back home, just like Obi-Wan asked him to do. So Haja, went from being con man Jedi to trustworthy, trustworthy and reliable rebel. So very, very cool. Great for him and his character. We cut to Tatooine, Obi-Wan's cave dwelling. Obi-Wan's now wearing his Jedi tunic and he's packing all his stuff up, getting ready to leave. He picks up the bag containing the toy ship that he bought for Luke. He pauses, thinking for a second, and then packs it into his bag. This ship is a T-16 Skyhopper, as seen in A New Hope. Adult Luke briefly waves it through the air in his room in the scene where he gets to know his new droids, R2-D2 and C-3PO.
Yeah, remember that, guys? What a great tie-in. What a great reach-back detail. I'm telling you.
Have a good one, Stacy. Thanks for being here.
These folks are, thank you, Stacy. These folks are great. We have great Star Wars parents, because they reach back to this detail of Luke. It's in A New Hope, guys, and he's playing with the ship, and it turns out they give us the backstory on how he got the ship. It's a gift from Obi-Wan. So
the toy becomes a symbol of not only Luke's potential as a pilot, but that also that there's more to life than Uncle Owen's farm, and it's not going to waste there. And so, we see Obi-Wan, sees from afar that Luke, is pretending to drive the pod racer there. He gets up on the side of the house and pretends to drive the pod racer earlier in the show. And so he sees that Luke has a love for flying. And he encourages those instincts. And so it's a great way to tie in, great storyline continuity here. Yeah, a great way to tie it in. He walks to the door, looks back wistfully at the place where he's lived for probably the last 10 years, and then turns and leaves. We cut to the moisture farm, the Lars home. Owen sees Obi-Wan approaching, riding his Eopie. He glances over at Luke playing nearby, then goes out to greet Obi-Wan. He says, "What are you doing here? I thought you were going to keep your distance." Obi-Wan says, "And I will. You were right. He just needs to be a boy. The future will take care of itself. The only protection he needs now is you, Owen, and Beru. Take good care of him." Owen, as Obi-Wan walks away, says, "I will." And Owen takes a second, a little bit of a pause here as Obi-Wan's going to leave, and stops Obi-Wan and asks him, "Ben, do you want to meet him?" And for whatever reason, that hit me. I agree. As protective as Owen has been of Luke, and as frustrated as he has been at Obi-Wan for what happened to Anakin, this moment, kind of heart softening, if you will, allowing Obi-Wan to meet Luke, is touching. And so
I think at that point, Owen really understands that it's, up to this point, I think Owen thought the only interest Obi-Wan had in him was as a Force sensitive child. That's all. He wasn't interested in, in him as a person or taking care of him. Yeah. And I think he realizes after all of these events that he does care about Luke, and he wants to give him the chance to meet him, which is really, really cool.
So
I did too, Teresa.
Obi-Wan approaches Luke, to meet him for the first time. He's carrying the toy ship in the bag, and we get Obi-Wan's signature greeting line, "Hello there." And so we don't get any more of this scene other than Luke kind of smiling and looking up at him. But we can assume that they talked, and Obi-Wan was very, probably did Obi-Wan's heart really well to be able to, at least greet and briefly talk to Luke, especially after he'd spent, an extended amount of time in this show with Leia. So, we cut to Obi-Wan riding across the desert for the final scene of this show. And we see he's approaching Beggar's Canyon. We see a transparent figure beginning to materialize, and it's been teased basically the whole show. We see none other than Liam Neeson's Qui-Gon Jinn appear as a Force ghost.
Yeah,
we've been waiting for it, speculating
really
it
slowly. And Jeff was watching this with me. My husband was watching this with me. You knew it was coming. They had to do it. So I'm thinking, okay, we're getting down to the end here. We're getting down to the end, and you see Qui-Gon materialize very slowly. And the minute I saw just a little bit of him, I just screamed. I said, "Oh my gosh, it's Qui-Gon!" I was really excited about that.
And yeah, woohoo! Yeah, exactly. So we see Qui-Gon's Force Ghost materialize right here at the end of the show. Obi-Wan says, "Master Qui-Gon." Qui-Gon says, "Well, it took you long enough." Obi-Wan says, "Beginning to think you'd never come." Qui-Gon says, "I was always here, Obi-Wan. You were just not ready to see." And then he says, "Come on, we've got a ways to go." Qui-Gon turns and walks towards the canyon. Obi-Wan smiles widely and follows, and the Star Wars theme music plays as they go. And it's great way to wrap it up.
The sunset.
Yeah, off into the sunset. Great way to wrap up the show. You want to do the observations, Mom?
Well, I'm going to have a hard time here because I could talk about this for the next 4 or 5 hours, and I know you guys probably could too because you're great Star Wars fans too. But just to try to bring it down into some nutshells. First of all, I did want to say Moses Ingram does her best work in this episode.
Oh yeah.
Her performance has improved as the series progressed. And my question, there would be, what happens to her now? What will she do? Does she, will she become a Padawan? It has been suggested. Star Wars fans, throw out a bunch of conjecture. We love to do that. It has been suggested that perhaps she could become Quinlan Voss's Padawan because he has some dealings with the dark side. And so there's an interesting,
that would be quite the pairing.
Thought. And then Leia, oh my gosh, Leia, how many accolades can we give this little kiddo? What is her name? Vivian. Let me go back up and find, and I have to call her name.
Yeah.
Her name is Vivian Lyra Blair. She turned 11 on June the 4th of this year. And, she did star, guys, and we mentioned this earlier, but it's been a while. She did star in Bird Box on Netflix with Sandra Bullock in 2018 for any of you that watched that. But, oh, my goodness, this kid, this little girl is fantastic.
Yeah.
I think I loved her. I think she was the perfect little Leia, young Leia. We see her come into her own, and we see the beginning of her, of her leadership abilities and her accepting, her role. At first, she tells, first the series, she tells her dad, "I don't want to be a senator. I don't want to do that. It's not interesting." And then she, through this experience and this adventure with Obi-Wan, she's apparently accepting, that she is a leader and that she has to figure that out, as she goes. And that's just great. Her character development is great. And tip of the hat to you, Vivian. You are a fantastic little girl. We love you. And oh my gosh, the fan tribute, if you will, all of the references to A New Hope, and there are a ton of them, guys. I've written down a couple of them here. I love it. I love that they pay such attention to the detail in continuity. The comm link, and I immediately recognize that Tala uses to communicate with Obi-Wan while they're at Fortress Inquisitorius is from A New Hope. C-3PO uses it to communicate with Luke when they're on the Death Star. It's the same thing. The breathing piece that Luke uses to get into Fortress Inquisitorius, goes underneath the water, was also used by he and Qui-Gon Jinn in The Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
And my husband, who's a diver, he said, "Man, I wish they'd invent those instead of the heavy diving stuff." And this is how detailed they are, guys. This is how much they pay attention to detail. Remember when in A New Hope, Han and Leia and Luke are trapped in the trash compactor, on the Death Star. They've jumped in there to avoid the stormtroopers, and the trash compactor comes together, and Leia picks up this brace, this big long metal looking
it's a big pipe
thing,
a chrome looking pipe,
and they try to brace it. That same prop is used again in the Book of Boba Fett.
Mando holds it up while they're working on the Naboo N1 starfighter. He holds it up as one of the pieces that they're looking at.
It's so cool. I absolutely love, I absolutely love the continuity there and just the attention to detail. This episode, oh my gosh, guys, gives us so many emotional moments. That epic battle, that we know is coming, they build the suspense up to that. Between Obi-Wan and Vader, Obi-Wan realizes that Anakin is gone, and he finally accepts it. And in A New Hope, he tells Luke, he's more machine than man now. So we know that Obi-Wan kind of comes to grips with that. I absolutely love seeing Anakin and Obi-Wan pre-Clone Wars.
During the Clone Wars,
the battle
pre-Order 66,
Pre-Order 66. Pre-Order 66. And then in that great, scene. I would love to have seen more of Hayden Christensen as Anakin. I'm hoping that they can sneak in some of that in Ahsoka, guys. Why could they not? Why could they not give us?
Why not? I mean, Ahsoka can have flashbacks too.
Yes. So do that, guys. Obi-Wan, telling Leia about her parents, was a very poignant scene. I think I love that. I loved the development of, at first Obi-Wan didn't even want to leave Luke to go after Leia, and Brea and Bail just appeal to him as parents and beg him to go. And he finally does, to this closing scene there where he just adores this little girl. He loves her to death. He respects her, which is pretty amazing. And so that was great. Owen, finally letting Obi-Wan meet Luke, was another absolutely, young Luke is Grant Feely. We had not mentioned Luke much because he hadn't been
featured as near as much.
Featured as much. Maybe that season 2 will feature him a little bit more. But of course the ending there where Qui-Gon materializes at the end to accompany Obi-Wan on his journey. And I could go on and on. Epic stuff. I loved it. I know that a lot of people, and I've heard, people not really rate this series very high. I really like this series more than I did as much as I love Book of Boba Fett, and I did,
Yeah.
this one hits you in the heart. This one hit me more in the heart because I am a holdover, guys. Yes, I am from 1977. And I stood in those lines to see, Star Wars, which wasn't A New Hope at that time. It was just Star Wars.
Yeah.
And so this one, I love this. I absolutely loved it. So, yeah, I mean, those were some of the things that kind of stood out to me. Again, I could probably go on forever and ever. But so what did you guys think? I mean, most everybody, how did you guys feel?
Yeah, let us know what you thought about the show. If we're watching on the replay, let us know too. Other questions. Will we get a season 2? In part 3 of this show, we learned that Jedi Master Quinlan Vos is alive, helping Jedi escape the Inquisitors. Will we see him in a series at some point?
Yes. Hope. Okay. Yeah. I have just been recently aware of Quinlan Vos's existence. I had watched the Clone Wars, but he was just in one episode, and I just want more Quinlan Vos. It's like I'm attached to this character, and I want more. So you guys give us that great Star Wars casting and give us Quinlan Vos in live action.
Yeah. Let's see. And where's Obi-Wan going at the end? Qui-Gon says they have a long way to go. Is that figuratively? Obviously, spoiler alert. We know that Obi-Wan does, gain the ability to become, manifest himself as a Force ghost, which again, that throws back to Revenge of the Sith, where, Yoda tells him, more training I have for you. And so, I would imagine that, he's going to receive guidance and wisdom from Qui-Gon now that he's ready to see. Yeah. And so, very, very exciting. Really enjoyed this series. I'm glad we got a good payoff on Reva's character. And that they, things turned out well with that character because, like I said before, admittedly, whenever it was first happening, I was like, why are they spending so much time with this, this brand new character that isn't in any other source material? Why are they spending so much time on her, giving her so much screen time, to, finally putting the bow on it, wrapping up her character very well, in this episode. And definitely her strongest performance of all the episodes for sure. And so anyway, let's see. Tina says most people don't like the series because Leia supposedly didn't know Obi-Wan. They aren't acknowledging the memories of a child she has gone on with her life. And this was just, one day or, a few days. So, you would think that all the stuff they went through would be very impactful. But I mean, there's also, you also have to think about how, your body has self-defense mechanisms. And, whenever you have a traumatic experience, sometimes your mind kind of blocks you from thinking of that. So, I mean, I get some of people's complaints, but overall, I thought the show was very well done. And I mean, I don't know how anyone who actually considers themselves a Star Wars fan to any degree could not watch the fight between Obi-Wan and Darth Vader that we got in this last episode and think, man, that is fantastic. Like, that's phenomenal. That's incredible.
This was great.
Use whatever word you want to. It was great. And so, people sit around and, come up with, whatever they want to come up with, or reasons to not like this. But at the end of the day, I enjoy Star Wars. The Lego Star Wars shows are fun for me. The Phineas and Ferb crossover is fun to me. I just enjoy Star Wars, and you can sit around and overanalyze things until you're frustrated and, you're unhappy. Or you can just enjoy the content and be appreciative that we're getting it at all. So
it's entertainment, guys. entertainment.
Yeah.
You know, everybody calm down. It's
Yeah.
you know, it's
There's no need to be overly critical. I mean, you could, obviously if you care enough about something that it can be frustrating at times if they go a direction you don't want them to go. But hey, I mean, we're not the ones riding it. So, that battle was worth the payoff. Oh, no doubt, Ian. Yeah, that battle.
Well, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And again, I think we have seen with the Mandalorian, with Boba Fett, and with this series now that, and I keep quoting Pedro Pascal on this. We are in very good hands. Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau, Deborah Chow, some of the directors that we have are very good Star Wars parents, and we're in good hands. So,
Bryce Dallas Howard, another director, also. So if you're in a bit of despair because the show's over, fear not, because there's more Star Wars content coming.
A lot more.
The Lego Star Wars Summer Vacation show is coming on August 5th.
Yeah.
It's new. Kind of the premise seems to be that there's some sort of contest. You get to roll the beach if you win the contest. So that should be fun. The Andor, so Cassian Andor show is coming August 31st to Disney
Rogue
Plus.
One.
And
if you haven't watched Rogue One, stop what you're doing right now and go watch it.
Tales of the Jedi coming later in 2022. Dave Filoni showcases animated shorts that will feature Jedi from the prequel era, which I've heard that Ashley Eckstein has already said keep your eye out for Ahsoka in that show. In Tales of the Jedi, these shorts. So yes. Bad Batch Season 2 is coming fall 2022. Mandalorian Season 3, February 2023. Ahsoka coming sometime in 2023, and Star Wars Skeleton Crew, led by Jude Law, is coming in 2023. So lots more Star Wars coming. Lots of Star Wars content coming from various eras. So we got a lot to look forward to. So hopefully we'll get a season 2 of Kenobi at some point. We'll see. If not, then I'll just watch A New Hope in the meantime. Let's see here. Did you want to do show and tell or mention anything in the show and tell?
Just a couple of things I wanted to mention, guys. And I have the magazine. There's a great piece. If you're a D23 member, there's a great piece on Obi-Wan Kenobi in 23 magazine on this series. It's really good. It's the one that comes with your D23 membership, and there is an excellent piece with some fantastic pictures in that magazine. It's a quarterly. There are several songs. Now I looked, guys, on Amazon, and if anybody in the chat knows differently, please help me out on this. There are several songs from Obi-Wan Kenobi available on Amazon for 99 cents each. Obi-Wan's theme, of course, which was composed by John Williams himself, specifically for this series. I couldn't find the full soundtrack, but it may be there, or they may offer that one later. So, those are just a couple of things there. And channel news, just quickly, guys. We were in Galveston week before last. I did a relaxing stroll on the beach. That was a good live stream. So check that out. Really pretty, relaxing birds and waves and good stuff. I have 3 shorts on the taffy making process at La King's Confectionery on the Strand in Galveston. It's a landmark business. It was founded in 1889, which makes it 133 years old. So lots of Galveston history in that one little store. And we always try to go when they make taffy. I posted a short of the taffy pulling machine. Jeremiah as the taffy puller that day. And then I posted part 2 yesterday. Part 3 will drop in about an hour at 2:30. That's just kind of a three-part shorts there. And so be sure and watch those. I've gotten some good views on those. Good stuff. And then also Saturday, if I could get it done, Saturday, could be Sunday, guys. is going to be a full vlog on La Kings and the whole process. And there's a surprise in that video, a change in what they do at La Kings that was kind of surprising for us too. Also, Jillian will go live for What's Free with the Bones on Saturday, July 16th at 8:30. She recently became a travel agent, y'all, with Mickey Travels, and she'll talk about the advantages of using a travel agent for your Disney vacation planning. And there are many.
Oh yeah.
There are many. Okay. Dean says full soundtrack is on Spotify to listen to. Ooh. There you go, Dean. Gosh, guys, we have so enjoyed this series. We loved it.
Oh yeah.
We are diehard Star Wars fans, but we're not going to pick it apart. We're not, now we love to. Now let me back up. We love to pick it apart and find those details.
Yeah.
But we also try to maintain, a lighthearted, view of it, and just love it, just be entertained and be, as you said earlier, William, thankful that we're getting this fantastic content. So
yeah. On Disney Plus. I mean, we don't even have to get up and go to the theater.
Exactly.
It's we're getting such good content coming straight to our homes.
Right.
I mean. Yeah. When you really think about it, we're pretty spoiled. So
okay, and so how would you rate it? 1 out of 10. What would you give it, William? You had to rate it.
Man,
1 to 10.
I was around a 7 or 8. After the season finale, I would go 9. I think. I very much enjoyed it. What about you?
Yeah, I was too. I was at about a 7, for the first couple of parts, and at this point, I would go 9, maybe 9.5.
Yeah,
I really would. I enjoyed it. I loved it. I loved all that they gave us, the characters, the music, the action scenes, the emotion. If you're a diehard Star Wars fan, guys, again, you had to love some of this. You had to, relax and enjoy it and love it. Yeah, definitely. That's kind of, where we are. We will, hopefully, guys, with some of these new series coming up, if we have time, we will try to, to do this kind of review series again. In the future, we'd love to do Ahsoka. If there's time, life interferes with this YouTube thing.
Yeah, a little bit.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
But we love to be with you guys, and thank you so much, especially if you're watching on the replay. Shout out to Lisa, Keith, and Joey. You're always on, captains of our team replay. And if you're on team replay, we really appreciate it and hope that you'll consider, watching our Hitchhiker Chat, which is our regular weekly show on Tuesdays at 9 p.m. Central, 10 p.m. Eastern. And consider subscribing. Consider hitting that subscribe button and giving us a sub. And if you have any comments, by all means, please leave a comment below, or you can email us at thehitchhikingbones@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. So please do that.
Yeah, definitely.
We have, the possibilities are endless for storyline. So, I would wrap it up by saying, give us a season 2.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Season 2.
And thanks to everybody watching in Ghost Mode. Those that hung out with us in the chat as well. Those that were watching on the replay. Shout out to Aunt Susan and Aunt Joy, Jillian, Kylie, and other family members. Teresa Martin, great to see you. Thanks for being here. You're a newer name for me, at least I think. Appreciate you being here. Kevin Theme Park Adventure, Dean the Turkey Lecturer, Movie Mania Nick, Ian B, AJC Magic TV, Adventures by D, Mandy Adams. Appreciate the conversation with you as well. Stacy of the Disney Nerd Herders, Disinfinity, and Tina DCS. And if I missed anybody, I apologize. Try really hard to watch the chat and write down names as people chime in. So let me know if I missed you, and I'll be glad to thank you properly for being here. So thanks everybody for your support.
Guys, yeah, absolutely. I did want to say, I think, guys, that our partner channel Monarch Moments is live at Disneyland right now.
Yeah.
Can one of our ghost hosts check that and maybe drop their link
Yeah,
in
I knew
the
they were
chat?
about an hour ago. So, usually with the Monarchs, when they're in the parks, it's marathon streams. So
It's
there's a good chance that if they're still streaming,
saddle up,
yeah.
saddle up. Absolutely. So if we want to can find that link if they're still streaming, and we'll drop that in the chat before we close out. That would be great. Monarch Moments, our partner channel, we love the Monarchs family. And hope that you guys will check out their
They
channel.
are still streaming.
They're okay, excellent. They're West Coasters, guys. They stream from Disneyland. Our home park is Disney. Walt Disney World. We kind of consider Walt Disney World to be our home park. So by all means, go over there. Okay, Tina has dropped that link. There's the link for Monarch Moments in the chat. And guys, everybody have a happy Independence Day. Independence Day is Monday, and so let's celebrate our country and the fantastic freedoms that we have. Grill a burger or kick back in your easy chair. Anything is acceptable. And Teresa's a West Coaster.
Oh,
okay.
Cool.
Okay.
Well, there you go.
So, there you go. Monarch Moments is out there. Great couple, Teresa. You'll love them. So, I guess that's it, guys. I hate to let this one go. I do. I hate to let this one go.
Yeah, hopefully at some point down the road, maybe we'll get to do a season 2. If not, maybe at some point, review some of the movies. But anyway, again, thanks everybody for being here. We've had a great time talking about this show. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. If you're watching the replay, let us know in the comments what you liked about the show. Anything else, Mom?
Head over to Monarch Moments. Tell them you're hiking in from the Hitchhiking Bones. And, at the Hitchhiking Bones YouTube channel, there is always room for one more. So please hurry back.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks so much.
May the Force be with you always.
May the Force be with you always.